Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to Sneaker Stories. As always, I'm your host Chris Jack. Today, another Jordan 1 in the room. I wasn't able to actually get the W on this pair after multiple tries, but I managed to get a pair for review here today. No on foot, unfortunately, as they aren't mine. So I'm just going to show you around the shoe because it's better than nothing. Without further ado, let's check out the Pine Green 2020. Alright, so as I said, Pine Green 2020, there was a version of this which released last year if I'm not mistaken, but with a couple of material changes and color switches throughout. So the one up here, which I think I might prefer personally myself, just because I do prefer a little bit more white in the shoe, obviously switches out with the black in this. But from a material finish, they've gone for a bit of a matte finish on those black areas on this particular shoe, and it's added something quite cool to this particular pair, which has made me, quite want them. Now these did release the 29th of February, which was last Saturday now at Shelf Life, Lemkis, Shisha, Sneakers, Archive, I think just about everywhere. But yeah, as I mentioned, I didn't get the win on this, and it's one of those things that I'm not too sad about because it's not like my favorite kind of colorway, but it's one of those nice to have ones. So what I said on my stories on sneakerstories.tv on Instagram, follow over here if you haven't done so already. I was saying when I was taking the L that, this shoe is just kind of a nice to have. It's not something that I would really want to pay resale for, just because I don't really think it's something I'm going to wear too much, just from a colorway perspective more than anything else. But onto the shoe itself, and I'll start with the outsole. As always, you've got this beautiful pine green standard Air Jordan 1 retro outsole. The midsole, they've kept completely white in this with white stitching throughout. And then moving into the upper, as mentioned, you do have a matte finish on these black leather sections. The leather quality, there's been quite a bit of debate of whether these are really good quality or not. In my honest opinion, I think it's not bad. I've definitely seen worse pairs from a leather quality perspective on Jordan 1 before, but there are some things that I'm just not 100%, and that we'll get into now. The matte sections over here almost feel quite silky to touch, so that's quite nice. Not that you really just sit around and stroke your shoes, but the toe box section over here is done in a very tumbled leather, and that's obviously the pine green color. It is very, very nice. That looks very, very good on this particular pair. Moving to the swoosh and the heel section of the shoe, they've brought the pine green back over there, which is the typical color blocking of the Air Jordan 1. Now, the thing that I don't like about this shoe, and it's kind of bugged me since the first time I went to look at these a little bit earlier than release, and that is the Wings logo over here. So the leather piece itself is actually a matte piece of leather, which I think would have just looked a lot cleaner on this, but then they added this kind of spot varnish to the Jordan Wings logo over there. For me, it doesn't look great. It kind of cheapens the shoe for me, just from that perspective. But it's something that you definitely do get used to, and not really something that should bother you when it's on foot. The heel collar section here is also done in that matte black leather. It has got the updated padding and lining in the sock liner section over here. So these Jordan 1s for me, I think it was from around the Obsidian onwards if I'm not mistaken. It's just a lot more comfortable on foot. I've been wearing them a lot more because they really have added a decent level of comfort to the Jordan 1 silhouette, at least in my opinion. The tongue here is a standard black nylon. You do have a red Nike Air logo done on that leather tongue tag over there. From a lace perspective, they did provide them with standard black flat laces. However, on the other shoe, and this is also something I think they could have done maybe a little bit better on, they've given you a red set here. I would have liked to see a pine green set in here myself personally. I also feel like from a price point, these did have a slight increase in price. It was only 100 Rand locally here, from 2399 to 2499. Maybe they could have given us another set. And while I got this one here, just to show you the insole of the shoe, it's a standard insole. It's got that very, very cheap print of the Nike Air logo on the heel section. I mean, that pretty much rubs off after 1 or 2 wears, at least in my experience with other ones that have similar insoles like the Obsidians. But yeah, I mean, that's really not the end of the world. Being inside of the shoe, but just be careful if you do want to preserve the shoe as VNDS kind of thing, wear it once, twice, then sell it. Then yeah, be careful of that. And speaking about wearing these, unfortunately, as I mentioned, no on foot for today's review, but I did get sent a photo from a friend of mine who bought this, who I thought absolutely killed it. So shout out Brennan, that is how good they look on foot. I think definitely if you are here in the southern hemisphere, we'll be going into winter in a month or two. I think it's a very, very cool colorway for that. But I mean, as you can see, I mean, this with a pair of black pants, black shirts, they're good. Now, from a sizing perspective, I have had a couple of DMs from people asking me if these do run a little bit small. This is a UK 9, so I could actually try this on myself. I will say that they are slightly narrow, just on foot. You know, sometimes with some Jordan 1s, you do get a bit of a pinch right here in this toe section, or at least on the sides of your foot. I have that with my UNC Off-Whites. They do start hurting me after a while, just on the one shoe. It's super weird. These, I have the same feeling that they probably will do that over time, so you might want to consider taking a half up. But that said, I don't really know what that's going to do for the length of the shoe, for your particular foot shape. I know that for myself, going a half size up in these is often generally just too big. So I think I could probably live with that and just stretch it out over time with wear. But that, again, obviously just my opinion. If you do have an opportunity to try these on, obviously that's always the safest route to go. But that in essence is this review. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you do have any further questions on these, you can drop them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer you as soon as possible. But otherwise, that's all for now, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.